1:30.
To fight.
House is like half an hour away.
So the guys who are fighting today also worked out this
got
morning?
like a little shakeout. Then they're gonna come 2 hours early and do their thing, and then then get ready to fight.
Holy shit!
And then you have guys that are fighting next week, so it's a weird dynamic, right? So we're concentrating on the guys that are fighting right now, and then the other guys, they're all been really cool. We have the vets, but you have guys that are like me. Like, can I get my pads in? We're like, well, this guy's fighting today. Like, we gotta.
Yeah, and he's like, well, I'm fighting in 6 days. So
yeah. And we have one of Connor's guys, and he's like a mechanical engineer, so he's already like overanalyzing everything, and it's kind of like some drama going on.
Holy shit!
It's fun though.
I never realized the schedule was that brutal.
So Chandler and I were just talking about it. Like you're like, okay, we're gonna have all this free time.
Yeah.
And like we wake up, like this morning we woke up, we got some breakfast, planned out a practice, whatever, and then we jumped to like the cold pool, whatever, and then went to practice, and then usually we go eat, and then we got to be back. We have like an hour to ourselves, and that night,
yeah,
it's something. It's fun, but
Ryan, can I get you to move that mic?
Yeah.
Are you rolling? Oh, sweet.
Oh shit! I was about to say Connor showed up at the house.
At your guys' house?
No, at the fighter house. The night before weigh-ins, and just got hammered. There's Randall. Got hammered, and then started lighting up a joint in the house, and the producers ran out, and they're like, no.
Holy shit. Well, I mean, Connor can do whatever he wants.
That's what he said. He's like, I'm going to do, he's like, call Dane, I'll do whatever I want.
I mean, it's, there's a few people that have earned, you know what I mean? Like, you got to give the guy credit, love or hate him. Like, he's earned quite a bit, in my opinion.
No, he has.
But anyways, if you want any of these PEDs too, by the way, Apex, Conquer, any of the nicotine, have at it.
I'll jump in.
But today we got Ryan Bader, who I'm sure a lot of people know. Bellator Heavyweight Champ, used to be double champ.
Yep.
It's actually I've texted you for a while. So my brother-in-law, my wife's brother, has been your manager for a while, right?
For a long time. I've known Randall forever, like little kid wrestling, tournaments and all that kind of stuff. And, his dad and it's a tight-knit community. And, we'd travel. I was from Reno, Nevada, travel down to Vegas to wrestle and vice versa. And so I got to know, that whole crew and Randall forever. And then he came to ASU and wrestled for a little while, and got to know him more then. And
got in a little trouble. That's why he didn't wrestle.
He got in a little trouble at a football game. He got
good old Randall. He's texting me right now. But yeah, he told me about you. So obviously you knew him before I did. You've known that family longer than I have. So when I met Taylor, my wife now. Like, hunting was not a thing in their family.
Yeah,
but as soon as I met Randall, he's like, man, you got to meet Ryan Bader. You got to meet him. So he started telling me about you. I'm like, cool. Well, then I started texting you. He gave us each other's number. You and I started texting. And then I met you like 2 days after the light heavyweight fight.
Yep.
When you were double champ, but that was not to bring that up, but that's when you lost the double champ status.
100%, yeah.
So it was an interesting thing. I showed up. Because him and I had been texting for a while. I showed up to camp. We were going on an antelope hunt together. We had planned that outside of even really meeting each other, but just kind of, hunters, you start texting and bullshit, and you kind of figure it out. You know what I mean?
100%.
Like, you figure out if you're one of the same, and usually you always are. So I'm like, all right, we're going to go hunting with Bader. This is awesome. I had an antelope tag. You had an antelope tag, and I showed up to camp. I'm like, hey, man, nice to...
What's it? Nice to officially meet you face to face.
You guys officially met in camp?
Yeah, but it was, it was a week after you had lost that.
Yeah, so I had...
so it was kind of, you know what I mean? It was like a little bit awkward for me, just being honest. But I'm like, hey, man, what's up?
It's not for me. I mean, losses, whatever. But, showed up to Antelope Camp, dropped a pin or something. He showed up, and he brought Randall, who's never been hunting, You got him some new boots, and he was all outfitted out.
I had him fully outfitted. He has no idea what the fuck he's doing. Like, no idea.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's asking me all these questions about how it's going to go, what it's going to be like. I'm like, dude, it's hunting. He's like, well, am I going to have cell service? You'll be in and out of cell service, but like, I've never hunted here. I don't know. Like, I've e-scouted the shit out of it, but like, I haven't been there in person. I don't know. Bader, you text me there was no service at camp.
No.
Yeah, so Bader texted me there's no service at camp. I told Randall. He immediately got like freaked out. It's like, all right, well, when are we going to have it? I'm like, well, I mean, mountain peaks, but it's like an antelope hunt, and I've never been up this far north. Like, I don't really know.
Did he want service for like the work aspect? He wanted to be able to work was out there, or just wanted to be able to check in for like a social thing, like needs to be connected?
He's never been away from it.
Yeah.
Ever.
That's what's crazy to me. That's why I wanted to kind of.
I mean, if you want my honest opinion, he didn't want to be away from it because of sports betting. But that's my take.
Well,
no, that's probably not true, but that's what I give him shit for.
Because if someone like for me texts me or lets me know like ahead of time, hey, we're going to a spot and there's gonna be no service, I'm like, yes.
Yeah, perfect.
That's great. Because that means everyone can focus when they're hunting instead of like everyone pulls out their stupid phone when they get up on top of a ridge, switch over that cell signal thing. Like, oh shoot, I have cell phone service. You look over at your friend, he's not glassing anymore.
Yeah, that's what we all look forward to, is not having service. But man, he was freaked out. But I'm all the good gear. He's never taken a shit outside either.
He
so
pulled
he
me
was
aside.
like super concerned about
He's
that.
like, Bader, can I talk to you for a second? And I'm like, yeah, what's up? And he's like, how do you go to the bathroom? I'm like number 2? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, well, you pick a tree, you can do the lean, you can do the
catch
hold
your
off.
the stance, the lean, you can do all kinds of stuff.
And then he put him in a little tent and it started raining on him.
Oh God, that was so funny. So anyway, this is actually a really good story. So that, like I said, I pulled up, I met you, your dad, your son, and then it was me, and I brought Randall, and we brought Luke, our film guy. We have really good film, all this stuff. So we pull up, we're like getting situated in camp, talking. Randall's known these guys forever, so me and Luke are kind of talking, getting to know Bader and his family. And it's just getting dark, time to go to sleep. So I tell Randall, like, hey man, this is your setup. Like, here's the cot. We had the cot for him. We had it inside a tent just for, being in the desert. You kind of want a little bit of cover at night. And so I'm like, okay, your boots, when you get in, you're going to put your boots underneath your cot right here. You're going to do this. The whole setup, we've learned over time. So everything's, logistically sound and it's easy to do. We were all good. Like, everything was good. Well, out of nowhere, a desert rainstorm came in, and it did rain it rained pretty hard. It was pretty incredible. Out of nowhere, like midnight. Randall freaks out. I had one of those tents on the top of my truck. You guys had like a big canvas tent because your dad had brought everything. Yeah,
he's from Reno, so he just drove.
Yeah, you're born and raised Reno, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So he came across, brought all his setup there. So like Randall's like, it's raining. What the fuck do I do? Like, well, you put your tent fly over the top. Like, we had left it open for airflow in the desert right now in August. Like, you leave it open for airflow. He's like, what do I do? I'm like, well, get your tent fly and take it out. What's a tent fly? I'm like, holy shit. He's like, will you come out and help me? And I straight up said no. I'm like, no, dude, I don't have, it is pouring rain and I am not out there.
As a man in hunt camp, this is one of those things you got to figure out yourself.
That's literally what I told him. I'm like,
I think Luke and my dad were out there putting it on for him.
They were all trying to help him.
While he's inside.
Yeah. But it's one of those things that we all take that for granted. Like, we know how to do it all the time. We know where to put your boots, not make a yard sale. So when it does rain, you can grab your stuff, put it away.
Randall's such a he's a bullshitter. He's always giving you shit. He's always saying something. He's the greatest guy on planet Earth, and he's always doing. He's always saying something. Always giving me shit for hunting's not that hard. Like, oh, whatever. You guys don't work that hard. Hunting's not that hard. I'm like, okay, well, come on this hunt. It's an antelope hunt, right? Easiest.
Should be easy.
In quotes of the rest of the hunts. So when he was, leading up to the hunt, telling me we don't work that hard, we don't do this, we don't do that, I'm like, figure it out now. Like, you say we don't deal with anything, like, figure it out. So he's out there fumbling around, can't figure it out. Anyways, Bader's dad, Luke, try to help him, can't help him. He ends up just getting in my truck and closing the door. Sleeping in the front seat all night because he couldn't figure it out.
Oh my!
But then the whole rest of the hunt was we got to figure out what to do with that hunt. I'll let you explain what happened. I mean, long story short,
I heard it was a pretty crazy hunt.
It was, yeah.
It was like a little sheep hunt, kind of. Yeah, I mean, long story short, I missed. And then at the end, I brought a backup rifle and shot a different antelope, not our target antelope. But it was pretty frustrating, right? I shoot, miss. Should have been. I mean, it was close.
It was 180 yards.
We go try to re-sight it in, and it was like.
The gun was off, or
yeah. Well, when I got home, I had a Vortex scope on it, and it's happened before. It just sheared off.
Oh,
and it's like, I go back and I'm like, all right, but we did try to sight it in and hit a rock and all that, but so that's what happened. I mean, kept missing, and then I finally just gave
you can
that rifle
shoot
up.
though too.
I can shoot, yeah. And
so we didn't think anything. I mean, I don't know. We didn't think anything of it.
yeah, it just kept blowing my mind. I'm like, what is that going on? I'm in my own head. I had him at like 450 yards, like, you know, like after you guys left.
Yeah.
And I didn't have the confidence in that rifle.
That's what's hard when you lose that confidence. And
this antelope would come back to the same spot every single time, more or less. And we went up some.
Dude, that was wild.
We went up some little peaks.
Yeah, it wasn't like well, I've heard from Luke. It was a crazy antelope hunt.
It was unlike any other antelope hunt I've ever been. It was really fun for that purpose.
Yeah.
Though. Like it was not the typical like window time glass in the flats. This buck lived. It was like kind of like this tabletop
little bowl
mountain,
up there.
like this little bowl. I don't know how much elevation it was. 700 feet elevation, maybe.
Yeah,
like to the
just
top.
straight up.
Yeah, just straight up. It wasn't anything crazy, but it was enough to like you're not really used to that with an antelope. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
Yeah, so he was come down on the bottom to hit the water, right? Because that's where that water was that your dad found him on before. His dad pre-scouted it, found this buck. It was a phenomenal buck, and he would hit that water and then get back up to the top on this tabletop. Well, anyways, we ended up chasing this fucking thing up and down this mountain. How many different times?
Everywhere.
Dude, first time I had ever had leg cramps on an antelope hunt. We got back to camp and I tried to get up out of the camp chair and my leg just like seized up, sent me into like cold chills. I was sweating. That's how bad my legs cramped up. So anyways, Randall thinking that all this shit was easy. Like he didn't think it was that easy anymore.
And he didn't go up either.
No, he watched from the bottom, which actually is really funny because the first time we had stalked this buck and we got up to the top on him, the first shot, and it ran down off the mountain. It ran literally like 20 yards from Randall and Bader's dad because they were kind of perched up like just glass and not moving. So when it came down this little pinch point off the top of the tabletop, it had ran like literally 20 yards away from him. So he was like, what do I do? I'm like, well, you can't do anything. What do you mean, what do you do? It's like, wait, how does this work? I'm like, Bader's the one with the tag. Like, that's how this works. You guys can't do anything. And he's like, so we just have to wait until you guys get back and get back. I'm like, yeah, that's exactly how this shit works.
You should be running around right now, scouting some other areas while we're out hunting.
Exactly. So anyways,
the antelope's dead.
He did get killed?
Yeah. The next season, I had a buddy that had that tag.
Sent him in there?
I sent him exactly on that little bowl up top.
Yeah.
And he was sitting right there.
Really?
He missed him.
Oh, shit.
3 days later.
What's a Bermuda Triangle up there?
Something's going on.
But he did kill it?
He missed him, and then they did that chasing him around because he would come back.
Yeah.
You know.
He did disappear for like a day and a half.
Yes,
that one
exactly. So, they killed him like 3 or 4 days later and ended up being what we thought.
Buck.
Yeah.
Really cool buck. His right top went forward, and then his left top went back. So he kind of had an offset look. It was cool.
Those are cool antelope.
Yeah.
He's a stud. But anyways, like following you on social, talking to Randall, like you've been a hunter. When did you start?
Yeah.
hunting?
So my grandpa, my dad, and my uncle, born in St. Mary's, Idaho, where I was born. They lived there, ranching, hunted in Idaho, and then they would.
So you weren't born in Reno?
No, I wasn't born in Reno, but I came over when I was like 2.
Yeah.
And pretty much raised in Reno. So my dad and my family have been huge hunters, and that's what we do. We'd get a tag, and I'd always miss that first week of school because one of us would have an antelope tag. You know, we always hunted the Sheldon of Nevada.
The good spot.
The good spot. And I remember, we were young, and my dad would drag me around, and get up on those tabletops and go into the dry lake beds and putting 18 miles as a little kid.
Yeah.
No other way to do it up there. And so that was kind of like my first experience in going to Idaho. So I got a whole different mixture, kind of still hunting in the woods, and then obviously all the Nevada stuff, just big glassing. And just kind of as a kid, somebody would always have a tag, whether sheep tag, elk tag.
Yeah, this is the good old days in Nevada.
Yeah.
As a resident, you could get a lot of tags. And if you guys were from Idaho, you could always pull tags back then too.
Exactly, yep.
It's a good setup.
Yeah, so just kind of is really just a family thing. It's what we did. And, you know, on those big hunts like those antelope hunts, you know, we take the family over there and you know, make a trip out of it. And then between us, my cousins, uncles, grandpa, you know, growing up, we ran through every tag, you know, pretty much every sheep tag, obviously deer, elk, antelope, all that kind of stuff. And my grandpa took us up to British Columbia after graduated college. Took everybody after college, and you know, took my dad, my uncle, my cousin, and I, and we kind of got the B team. Yeah. You know, when they went up and you know, got their sheep, got goat, moose, and all that caribou. We kind of went. We were moose and caribou hunting, but we were out there. Weather got bad. You know, we were out there, I think, 15 to 16 days. You know,
shit.
That's an adventure.
Up north, that's why it's so fun up north.
And
did you kill a moose and a caribou?
I got a caribou, and then I was about to get a moose on the last day, and the guide like took us out of there. It was getting kind of gnarly. He felt, and so didn't get a moose. So my dad, I mean, he came back with everything.
Your dad did?
Me and my cousin kind of stayed back, and they went elsewhere.
They went off.
So they, like you said, they were the A team.
They were the A team. We were the B team for sure. You know, and we had a great.
It's typically how a father-son.
I get it.
It's typically how it goes.
Yep.
You know, but we had a great group of guides at the beginning. I shot my, they're kind of younger, and shot my caribou, and I'm like, all right, what do you need help with? And he's like, you just watch that bear over there, right? So that was my job, watching this bear, you know, cross the little canyon, and saw Wolverine.
That's
going across.
Right?
Dude, up north it's
amazing.
The problem with up north though is the weather stuff. Like logistically, to get you out of camp, if the weather is getting bad, then you gotta leave. That is the one problem.
I think the worst part is it's so addicting.
Oh, it's wildly addicting.
Like once I did that British Columbia hunt in 2013.
You killed a goat
and a moose with my bow, and I've wanted to go back ever since. That country is just it's so hard to describe how amazing it is up there. But once you go there, you just want to be there all the time.
So that was post-college though?
That was post-college.
You played football in high school, right?
Yes, sir. Yep. Played pretty good football player. As a Nevada Defensive Player of the Year, and that's what after the high of winning state championship. And
you played at Worcester, right?
We played Worcester. We beat all the Vegas schools. Before like Gorman and all them were there. But
so did you go to McQueen?
McQueen.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had some guys went into the NFL after that, and I was off that high of like, we just won state. I want to play football, but I was a 195-pound middle linebacker. Wasn't overly fast. Like if I got filmed to people, maybe. But
were you 195 because you were wrestling?
Yeah.
At 197s?
Yeah. So what was it? 189 back then. Yeah.
You had to make 189?
Yeah.
I would have no shot.
So on paper, I'm like, whatever. And so I started thinking about maybe going to, it was like the number 2 JC school, and then trying to go to a really big football school and get bigger faster.
Yeah.
And then I had interest from Oregon for wrestling, and then went to one last tournament. Senior Nationals, it's like the first place winner of every state gets together. And I got third, and started getting pretty heavily recruited for wrestling. I went down to ASU, and they take you down Palm Walk. Like just palm trees, and then you break your net looking at girls that are going by, or like, I think I want to go here.
Yeah, it's a different atmosphere coming from where you came from to Arizona.
100%.
I don't know shit about wrestling.
Yeah,
like I only know it from my brother-in-law, and like I have an insane amount to learn. But the season-wise, is it spring or is it fall?
It's more of a fall. So you
played football and wrestled at the same time?
No. So, I mean, I guess it's a winter sport, start like there was like some overlap, because we were always doing just a little bit. We were always doing well. And then, it's been so long. I think it started in December and you go through February or something like that. College wrestling, we show up and we're the track team for like a month, the swim team for a month.
Yeah.
Then you start wrestling, and all your friends are going on spring break, and you have nationals the next weekend. It's a grind for sure. College wrestling is a grind, but you got us what we needed as far as what we're doing now.
Yeah. So did you hunt in high school then, if you were that busy through all those?
Yeah, I tried. I tried as much as I can, and a couple of times, we're a big football school, so that was the focus. Yeah. But, I always did well, did my homework as far as like in football, and knew what I was doing, kind of control the defense and all that. So I had some leeway, and they would let me go. But yeah, it got hard. I think more so in college, I had to like take a step back.
Yeah.
You know, because you can do that in high school football maybe, but you know, when you're starting and you're missing a week of wrestling and you're dueling somebody. So I kind of took a little step back and did what I could.
Yeah, college sends it to another level.
It does for sure.
That's why I stopped and I just went hunting.
Yeah.
I made that choice real quick.
No, I like that. Yeah, so I mean, just from like the hunting wise, you know, that trip up to British Columbia was amazing. And what's crazy too, like we were up there, like I said, 15 days, and we did get stuck in there. The little tiny one person prop plane could
the
bush
bobsled planes.
You know, couldn't get in there, and, you know, kind of ran out of food. Somebody got a moose, you know, we're eating moose for a couple of days. And you look back, and those are the best times, right? No filter, no water filter. We had horses there, too, just straight out of the...
Seems like that's the trend. Everyone I hear, like even on our hunt, we ran out of food in British Columbia. Like,
yeah, because you're there to kill, and I think you're there to just
and because
live
the
off
weather,
what
like you said, the weather. Like we were going to get
Yeah.
other food flown in with another hunter was going to come in, but the hunters couldn't come in because of the weather. So like, yep, you guys don't have food. You guys start like rationing a little bit, and it's like it sucks at the time.
Yeah,
but looking back on it, like, dude,
That's
that
the
was
best.
so awesome.
Yeah.
We had grizzly bear encounters. I had one stand up on me like 30 yards, and I'm on a horse, guns in the scabbard. And I'm just trying to keep my horse, you know, it's snorting and everything. Come on, get away. Walked away. And so the whole guide thing I was saying, we had great guides.
Yeah.
And then we transitioned to Hillbilly Bob, Meth Bob, you know.
Meth Bob.
And he was not very good. And we went out, I shot my caribou, went out for a moose, and, you know, he just had his flannel on, you know, even back then it had like, you know, the Gore-Tex.
Yeah.
And so he's getting cold. We're just sitting under a tree with a fire, not doing any hunting.
Not hunting them because of his gear.
And I'll show you a video after. We start taking the horses out, and there's a good amount of snow now. And he's starting to act weird, and he's kind of leaning on his horse and swaying. So I ride up to him, and he can't talk. And he's like, light that tree on fire. Light that tree on fire. I'm like, what? He's like, why don't we just make a fire? He's like, no, light that tree on fire. Dead tree. I don't know, 60-foot tree.
Told you to light it on fire?
Yeah, and I lit it on fire. All the way. I'll show you a video. I was like, what is going on here? And so anyway, we get him out. And then the next day, his horse like spooks on a mushroom and bucks him off, and he hurts his back, and I got to take him back over my lap, back to the deal.
Gosh.
And so that pretty much was like ended the hunt.
Did you ever have
Why did he tell? Was he cold? Was he frozen?
He had hypothermia that first time.
Because his gear was so shitty?
Yeah, he just had a flannel on and
Holy shit.
for most of the day.
Probably don't want to be up north with just a flannel on.
No.
That's just
No.
a guess.
Did you ever have bad experience with the horses up there?
No, they're all pretty good. Yeah.
You did, right?
Oh, I got bucked off the first day, landed on my bow, thought I completely effed up my bow.
Yeah.
Got bucked off 2 other times.
I mean, he did. The horse saw a mushroom and spooked bad.
Yeah, the horse I had later on, they didn't tell me this right away, which I thought was really funny. But they said, like, yeah, the horse that you had has very bad eyesight. And so anything that's like black or dark colored, it thinks it's a bear and freaks out. So there's times where this horse just starts running down a river, and I'm like, with my camera
Probably
over
a
my
really
shoulder,
good horse to put people on.
smacking.
it's a
It makes
great
total
thing.
sense.
And I'm just like, oh, this is the thing where I'm going to fall in the river. My camera's going to get soaked. I'm not going to be able to take any photos the rest of the hunt.
Yeah.
But again, looking back, I'm kind of glad I had that horse because it was a cool experience.
Experience,
Just that I
yeah.
got bucked off the horse,
If you
still
would have
kept
busted
going.
your bow,
Yeah,
it
If I
would've
had busted the
been
bow,
different.
I would have not been
different.
good.
I've been super fortunate to go up twice. I've been in Northwest Territories and I went to BC. And BC was with horses. Northwest Territories was all foot. But I had a great experience with the horses. It was phenomenal. I actually had an encounter with a juvenile grizzly bear coming down the horse trail after we had killed on our way back to base camp. It was like a day and a half ride. We were about halfway. We got to this little pinch point where a bear stood up on its hind legs and the horses started freaking out. The guy I was with, his name's Bruce Willis. If you can
There you go.
believe that. And the
You
guy's
just karate chopped him.
legitimate name, Bruce Willis. I'm like, dude, I am going to fuck with you this entire hunt if that's actually your name. Anyways, he was such a stud of a guy. He won Guide of the Year 2018. You know how those Canadian outfitters, they put him up for Guide of the Year? He won it. He's a stud of a guy. Really, really good dude. Told me to get off the horse. He's like, get off and just stand behind your horse, get the gun out. Whole standoff with this bear. Anyways, he ended up being juvenile, so he was kind of not really sure what to do. He wasn't big enough to like just start bulldozing and everything. So thank God he kind of went off. But I had a grizzly bear encounter too. It was awesome.
Gnarly.
Yeah, I mean, we had a dead sheep on the horse too, so it was kind of a, you know,
Yeah.
he knew
Situation.
why he was there. It was cool though. It was really cool.
So hunting's
awesome.
basically in your blood.
Yeah,
Start doing your
100%.
whole
You know, so in college, I didn't do as much, and then, you know, after college and all that, and still right now, I have to like
Work
around it because of, you know, I had a, you know, early archery bull tag in 5B South, and I was fighting in 4 weeks, right? And so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna train through the weekend. I'm gonna give myself, you know, as much time as I can, which isn't.
Was this
enough.
a heavyweight or light heavyweight?
It was a heavyweight, fortunately. It's like Matt Mitrione.
Yeah, so you didn't have to focus.
I didn't have to focus on losing weight and all that, which is really hard if you're out.
I don't know how you did that. Like how you would have managed a weight cut and hunting and fight camp.
Yeah. So, you know, I have to work around here and there, you know, and I really started getting into these whole like 100% disabled vets. So there's a organization, it's Outdoor Experience for All. They take tags that are turned back in Arizona, and it can go to 100% disabled vets. And so last 3 years we've been working with them, and there's always early bull tags. This last
I
year,
wanted to get in deep with you on this because
we
you
need
and
to
I have
talk
been
on
talking
that.
about. I want to come out this year, and I really appreciate the offer. I'm gonna make it out this year. So what exactly are you doing for these guys? Because it's through your family's place too, right?
Yeah. So, you know, we usually take my in-laws have a ranch up there in, you know, the units far like 22, 23 area, and so any of those tags, you know, we know that area really well, and so we, you know, we'll have them at the ranch, and we get different walks of life as far as these vets. I mean, this last year we had Vietnam vet, amputee, you know, to the hip on one leg.
Wow.
We had 2 females, you know, one was in the Navy, got hurt. One was a nun, a one-eyed nun, and she was attached to the Marines as an analyst and got blown up. And then we had you know, tip of the spear, Dev Groove, SEAL Team 6 guy. And we had all 4 of them. And we had 1 Muzzy tag, 22 South, and we had 3 22 North tags, rifle tags, you know. And so, and we filled every one of those tags.
So awesome.
You know,
awesome.
we set the Vietnam vet, you know, we set him in a little glassing chair, called the bulls in, you know, and the SEAL was awesome. I was like, hey, it's 2 different units. And he's like, I'm here to help. And he came and, you know, helped us and you know, just with the morale too, as far as like the different vets and them talking amongst each other and stuff. And I was talking to the nun, I'm like, hey, we tend to go a little hard. And if, you know, if we're pushing you too much, just tell us and we can try a different tactic. And we took her through Manzanita. We took her up and down. We showed her a bull and she wanted that bull. And we're like, we're going to have to work for it. And, you know, eye patch and everything. She was on a rattlesnake. I had to throw her off. And we thought she would hate it the day of, right? So
she'd never hunted before?
Never really hunted before. And so you know, it's nasty country over there. And so we're taking them through Manzanita, this and that, and going after this one bull. And I take her up, and this bull's like perfect in this saddle. And it's a 200-yard shot, you know? I take her up there, and that bull kind of moved, and I peek over, and it was right on top of us. And we get her set up. We had the little triclops and whatnot, and she couldn't see it. She couldn't find it. We had the scope back down. I was like, don't look through the scope. Look with your eyes. It's right there. Couldn't see it, right? That was the whole thing. It went to 300 yards. Put it on the bull. It's in there. Oh, I see it. Oh, moved, you know, kind of deal.
Yeah.
And we're being very patient, and we don't care, right? We want a good experience, and then that he's long gone. And so we're basically having a picnic out there, and it's like 11 a.m. And I look over, and there's another bull, like a little smaller bull. And I was like, hey, you want to shoot him? Sure. He's 500 yards. All right. Using one of our rifles. Shoots. The wind pushes a little bit. I'm like, all right, hold on its ass. Smokes it at 500.
Excitement level now is just through the roof.
Then we get her down and all that. And I'm like, and at breakfast, I'm like, hey, make sure you eat. She's like, I'm not eating till noon. I'm fasting. I'm like, all right. And so I'm like, hey, been drinking water? It's kind of a Randall thing.
Yeah.
No, what happens if I have to go pee? I'm like, you go behind the bush.
Yeah,
We're
go
not
behind the
looking,
bush.
whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, we get her up there. We take a picture, take care of the bull for her, and she's in the shade, and I overhear her like talking to the SEAL dude. I was like, yeah, I just had a seizure and this and that. And we're like, oh. So I get up and I call one of the cowboys. I'm like, dude, I'm sorry, but we need like horses in here. Oh. None having a seizure. So we get a horse in there. We pack her bull out. She's already back, but when she gets back, she's on a horse, and the cowboy's getting her off, and she can't feel her legs. And so he swings her leg over, but that leg goes out, foot's in the stirrup, which is a big no-no because that horse will just take off. Her head is going when he catches her at the very last second. So anyway.
Did she struggle with seizures?
So I guess it's kind of a normal thing from her injury. And anyway, we get back, and she's like sitting down side of the dirt road, and I'm like, oh man, I'm like, how you doing, girl? What's going on? She's like, she's drinking a White Claw. And she's like, this is the best day of my life.
That's my kind of none.
Yeah. So I mean, awesome. Those experiences are, man, I'd rather do that than, obviously I like having my own tag, but to help those people out.
What got you so deep into it? Like really doing this thing, like you guys have that whole week up there at the place. You guys shoot in the afternoons. I've seen videos you guys doing a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. Basically, the guy who founded it, Eddie, he kind of I kind of knew him here and there, and he had me speak at one of his fundraising events, and he's going to have like, I think Remy this year and all that. And there's a good amount of people that show up, and basically just asking if we'd help take people out, because it's perfect setup, because we'll get the people that they probably will, but go out and camp and whatnot, but they need more of like, hey, I got up my bed, I got my food right here, and so it's just kind of the perfect storm right there in those different units. And they've had, I think last year they had 500 tags to give the vets, and they can't fill them.
They can't fill them?
They can't fill them because you know how it is. Like I do a lot of stuff with the SEALs and then the Green Berets, and everybody's always like, hey, let me know. You got to get paperwork, got to get approved, whatever, but let me know. But these tags come in maybe a week before. And so when you reach out,
it's such a tight schedule.
Time.
People are like, well, I got my, the softball tournament. I have to be there, and so a lot of them, then he'll in turn give them to other organizations that maybe could find somebody, but it's a super cool experience, and
it's awesome.
You have different people.
I really, really want to get there. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
It's awesome. We've always wanted to do a bunch more with military and vets and all that stuff. So, always looking to do it. I think it's awesome that you guys have that set up and what you guys do out there. I think it's badass. Because you've been texting me the last couple of years, sending me the reports, what's going on and everything. It's pretty awesome.
I mean, this weekend we have I can't make it because I filmed The Ultimate Fighter or whatever, but I was going down and just a javelina hunt. And we have a bunch of female vets, and they do a camp and have somebody there cooking for them and stuff, and we'll take out, 2 or 3 of them. Yeah. Shoot their pigs, whatever. And just more of like that camaraderie that they feel, because when they leave there,
for sure,
I'll have texts for months and months, and stay in contact with most of them. And it's a good reset for them because they're in their normal life. Some of them are having troubles. The SEAL dude that got out, he was top of the spear, top of the top, and you go from way up here to just everyday life, normal life, and it's hard. And so he was just talking about, I love that we have a mission, we plan, we execute. Yep. And I think
hunting has a lot of crossover with that. That's the thing too, with we had Derek Wolf on here that played for the Broncos 8 years, won the Super Bowl with them, played with Vaughn and Peyton that whole year. He was a DN for them. And it's that locker room, it translates really well to vets in the military. So that's why football does so well with the military, is that locker room feel, that camaraderie. And then when you're done with it, it's the next closest thing to it is hunt camp. That's what it is. Logistically planning and common goal. Everybody's after the same goal, get something killed, teamwork. It's it translates over really well for vets and, ex-athletes and all that stuff. And
such a great escape from the daily life.
Oh, it's amazing.
Going out there in the mountains,
and we don't ever, normal guys like us, we don't ever think about it, right? It's, professional athletes like you, you guys might not take it for as much granted as we do. Not to say it that way, but like, you know, we just think it's whatever. But then you talk to Derek and he's like, dude, the guy won the Super Bowl, sacked Cam Newton in the Super Bowl. And he's talking about how killing a bull with his bow in a hunting camp was like the greatest thing ever.
100%.
Like, yeah, I mean, that's what we feel, right? Like us normal guys, that's what we feel. But like, we have nothing to compare it to like that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you winning, you know, multiple championship belts and holding them at the same time. It's like hearing it from guys like you that hunting is that. You know what I mean? It kind of validates the normal guy who thinks about it.
That outlet, right? And it, especially like, you know, I have a few fights left. Yeah. But I have to have that like planning, working towards a goal, you know, if that's not in my life, and that competition really, you know, and hunting is competition. You're competing with yourself, you're competing with other hunters.
It's the best form of
competing with the animal, you know, and so for me, that outlet, and I love, you know, my wife thinks I'm crazy, just like the planning. Yeah. You know, I love the planning part. I love, you know, getting my stuff together, going through my gear. Okay, we're gonna use this, that. Okay, cool. You know, and then she always laughs. She's like, I come back. She's like, you're unpacking to pack again? And I'm like, yeah, you know, leaving it a week.
Yep.
Yeah, I love the whole process of it.
Do you think all the training you do correlates really well into hunting? Like, you never feel like there's something missing there, like meshes perfectly with how you...
Well, I can speak to his physical training, because when we had to go after that antelope, I'm like, holy shit, I got to follow... Like this guy,
yeah, he's just trucking up the mountain.
I don't train like that. Yeah. So I'm like trying to keep him like, holy shit, that's why my legs cramped up.
But still, even in like good fight shape or whatever, you're in good shape, but like mountain shape and like walking up a steep incline is different. It's like, you know, and you know, my brother-in-law Blake, and I got him into hunting. He was a fisherman in California, and was like, what am I going to do in Arizona? And he's like, go, go, go. I'm like, why don't you come over and we'll get you into hunting. And now he spends more time out there than a lot of us, you know, and he loves it. But he's in that shape where he can just go.
Mountain shape. Right? That's how Brady is.
Yeah.
Brady's, and he's the mountain athlete. That's what we call Brady internally.
100%.
That's who he is. He's a professional mountain athlete.
So I'll still get smoked on there, and I'm like, man, I'm in shape, but apparently I'm not in shape, you know?
Yeah.
And we're big boys, right? 240 plus pounds, trucking up, you know, big backpack.
Even when you were fighting at 205, would you still be 240?
No, I'd be around 225, 230.
Yeah. So still, I mean, a lot more than you.
Oh,
what are you up to now these days?
186 finally.
There you go.
6'5", 186. Yeah.
I dropped all the way down to 174 during
38-inch inseam. That's a mountain athlete right there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
my
man,
body just melts off calories and pounds.
Yeah. Do you think the mental focus of a training camp translates well to hunting?
Yeah, I do. You know, and like, got like pretty big into hunting coos deer, you know. And
you've killed some giant coos deer.
Yeah, just like sit there glass all day, you know, and like you were saying, a lot of guys, your buddies will be like, and there's always, you got to have a break, but you know, they pull out their phones and start after a couple hours, and they're go through all their social media, they start looking stuff up,
start eating food,
start eating snacks behind you.
Those mountain naps are really good when you're not finding any animals.
Yeah, exactly. You know, so that focus, definitely. And then, you know, it kind of correlates to everything, right? You're planning, you're working towards a goal. Like on the MMA side, I want to step in there and give myself the best possible chance ever to succeed. Yep. And it's kind of like the same.
Do you scout do you watch your opponent? You watch
a little bit. I don't do I don't do a ton, and my coaches do.
Yeah.
And I just have a routine, and I tell myself every time that I'm going to watch it at the beginning of camp, and I don't, and I watch it like a week and a half out from fight, just to kind of go through a checklist, be like, okay, I already know everything as far as like tendencies. We've drilled it because my coaches have watched. I've watched these fights before. Yeah, you know, but it's my process of doing it. Like,
so you just focus on being better at what you do.
At what I want to.
Coaches kind of do that.
I want to dictate the fight, and I want to focus on me. I obviously want to watch out for tendencies and what they're good at, but I don't put a lot of thought into what they are going to do.
Is there anything comparable to hunting with that? Hunt scouting to that?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Different things.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the planning and like the setup, right? And I kind of prioritize my hunts. You know, some of them are kind of like, I can draw this every year, you know, and you want to keep everybody happy. You want to keep the family happy.
Yeah, you got 3 kids.
My coach is happy, you know, so I'm like, if I have a, Coos deer hunt, in 22 or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, I won't put a lot of work into it, right? Or maybe someday that's my only hunt. I will.
Yeah, you go all in.
Yeah, but like as right now, like have a San Carlos Coos tag, and I can actually, the bull tags got pushed back a week in Arizona, so somebody usually always had a late bull tag.
Yeah.
So I'd spend like 4 days in the San Carlos hunt, and then come back, give a day, and then go help somebody.
Yeah.
And this year I get to spend time on that one, so I'm excited about that one.
Yeah, that'll be awesome. You've killed some good bucks out of there already.
Yeah.
Really good bucks.
But
didn't you kill like a 110 out of there? 110 plus? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a stud. Absolute stud.
When they get that big, they get
that's fun.
Kind of get me excited now.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So do you have a fight yet this year? Do you know?
So 2 guys are fighting in March, and I fought them both already. Fought one at 205, and it's the other Russian dude, Moldavsky, who I fought 2 fights ago. Tough Russian, younger guy. So they're fighting. Logically, that's a next contender.
Yeah.
But kind of one of those things where sometimes right after a fight, like who you're fighting, when you're fighting. Sometimes it takes a while.
So you don't know how to plan your hunt this year?
Not really.
Season.
I'm hoping, fight sometime in summer, because last year was great.
Yeah.
I didn't have a fight scheduled that, and it was perfect, and I had a good time and went on a lot of hunts, but that's the whole deal. You put in and you never know.
Do you get to dictate it all?
A little bit, but not really.
I've always wondered
I'll tell
that.
my manager, hey, give me a fight early September. Usually there's one September 3rd or 4th, right?
Yeah.
And then that's perfect timing because you have next 3 months you're not going to have anything.
Oh,
You don't even
that's
have
why
to
you want to
think
do it
about
then.
You want to get as close. So otherwise you fight in May and then you'll have a fight in October.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right in the middle of everything.
And
so
of course,
you can
that's
fight
the
camp
year
all elk season.
That's the year you're going to draw a badass tag.
Yeah, of course.
But
I always wondered if you could dictate it all about that. That would be tough.
it'll be
Really,
nice
really
when
tough.
I'm done, where I can be like, all right, I have this hunt and I can work everything around that instead of
That's
I'm
what I'm
always
working
in
towards.
limbo.
I'm working towards just being able to go hunting and not worried about coming home and doing this and phone calls and all this shit. That's what I'm working towards.
Is there a dream hunt that you have that you really want to do? If you didn't have anything else going on, what would it be? What would you setting your life up to go chase?
Man, I love elk. I love elk hunting. Bow hunting, big elk.
Yeah.
That'd be fun for me.
Yeah, chase them in the rut.
When did you move to Arizona? Did you
2001?
Right after college?
Right after high school.
You were
2000.
resident of Arizona then?
Yeah.
Did you get your lifetime license?
I don't have my lifetime.
Oh,
no.
Do that.
Do that?
Definitely do that. So you've been earning resident points since then?
Yeah. Well, in college, like I said, sometimes
You
I
took a backseat to it?
little back seat.
Yeah.
And so there's a couple of years I missed and all that, but I'm kind of the guy where we have, like I said, we get to go on these rut hunts and all that and help out, and I'll have that every year.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of the guy where all right, I like to hunt. So with this Coos deer, mule deer, in Arizona, I'll be like, well, I'll put in for not a crazy hard unit to draw and try to work hard and find the good bucks, and then with this year I put in, I don't mind the late rifle bull tags.
They can be good.
They can be good, and in the areas kind of where we're at, we kind of know where like to get in the little pockets and stuff like that in the late. So this year I put in for 23 late.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's always, for me, as far as the early archery tags, that's where the fighting comes into play, as far as all right, I can't spend 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That'd be tough.
Unless it worked out perfectly. I had a fight September 3rd.
Yeah.
And so I had that one and I had a fight in 3 weeks,
That would be so tough, man. Holy shit.
Yeah, because you have so many different things compounding on top
Well, it's
of
just
you.
tough.
You have
It's
a
tough
hunt,
with work, let
trying-
alone to go perform physically.
Yeah. You get drained on that hunt, and then you have to go fight later. It's like, ooh.
And for me, like, that's my job, and that takes the #1 priority.
Yeah.
And I'm never going to walk into the cage and feel like I didn't do enough work, right?
Yeah.
That's the worst possible feeling
Have you ever had that feeling?
I broke my hand in training camp one time. It wasn't crazy bad. Really the only injury I've had, I broke this in a fight in first round, right? And then
Which fight?
down in Australia, Anthony Peroche, I hit him with an uppercut, but just one knuckle on his chin.
Yeah.
It never broken anything. I hit it. I'm like, that was weird.
That was weird.
I start grabbing, and I feel it like click clacking in my hand.
Ugh.
And I'm like, oh. So I have 2 more rounds to go. I say take him down, start elbowing him. Super bloody fight, win the fight. But the next training camp, I threw like an uppercut, hit an elbow on that same spot, and had a fracture. And so I go into a 5-round fight. Big old dude, St. Preux. And
The St. Preux fight?
in St. Preux.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a giant.
I did not throw a punch with my right hand that whole training camp. Just got in shape, did what
Against
I could
him
do.
too? Holy shit. That
And
guy's
so
a giant.
we went in, and the doctor was like, I can numb it up right to your knuckles so you can still feel it. And it's crazy they could do that. And I was like, I want to try it first, right?
Yeah.
I tried it out. I'm like, I don't like it. And so we just rolled in there, and I'm like, well, I hope it's good. And it did. And it held up, and we ended up winning that fight. But that's like the one time where I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I'm in shape. I'm in cardio shape, but that grabbing, wrestling, grappling.
Every time you do
shape.
something, it's going to hurt, right?
Yeah.
Like you can feel,
And so, yeah, it's one of those things. So that always takes a priority no matter what. I
Did you end up winning that fight?
yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Makes you worry about too. Like if you have a
So
fight
I'm
later
trying to-
and you're
I'm-
going on a hunt, like what if you got rolled your ankle on that said hunt? It's like,
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to look right now. Are you still #2 most wins in UFC light heavyweight?
I think so. I'm like,
Because it's John
still up
Jones
there.
and you, right?
Yeah.
I think that's what it,
I think
I'm
there's
trying to find it
15.
right now.
They might have taken me off of everything.
They don't want you to be a part of anything. Now you're on coaching tough.
No, I talked to Dana there. He was like, hey, welcome home, And
Yeah.
it's good to be back. He's like, well, it changed since we were in a warehouse on The Ultimate Fighter, and now they have the Apex and the PI. And
Yeah, you fought on Ultimate Fighter, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, season 8. Yeah.
God, it's wild. Anyways, that's why Ryan's in town. Is you're coaching the Ultimate Fighter right now with Michael Chandler,
helping
against
Michael
Connor.
Chandler.
Obviously, that news broke. That's awesome. Connor's coming back. Chandler coaching against him.
It'd be amazing.
And it's nice it's not in hunting season, which makes it good for you.
Yeah.
I'm sure Dana threw a jab that you were back at UFC instead of Bellator.
Yeah, no kidding.
Did Bellator say anything about it?
No, we got it approved.
Coker or anybody say
Yeah,
anything?
we got it approved by both.
Really?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
it's good, Chandler was a Bellator guy, and him and I are the
Bellator champion for a while too.
Yeah, and we're kind of the same guys as far as like we don't burn bridges. Like I've never badmouthed the UFC or Bellator. I've had great experiences in both, and I fought 20 fights in the UFC.
It's a
was
lot.
on the show.
That's what I'm saying. I was trying to find it. I can't find it, but I'm pretty sure you're number 2 behind
number
John
2 or
Jones.
3 right there.
Yeah.
So it's good to be back, and it's good to. I was gonna come in, come out. Like Chandler asked for like whatever you can do, whether that's 2 days or whatever. And I got here and met the guys, and we started training and like all in now. So I'm gonna be up here as much as I can.
Got in your skin, just like hunting.
I know.
So is this
funny
like
how
something
that
you're here for a month long, or is it back and forth you get to go, or what's?
I'm going back for the weekends. Keep the family.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got
obviously
3 kids.
happy.
That's tough. Being
Football.
a fighter, fight camps, hunting camps,
Yeah.
3 kids, wife. That's a lot, man.
You're a busy
wild
fella
kids.
right now.
Oh yeah. So just trying to keep everybody happy.
Your wife, Daisy's cool with it? With you?
Yeah. Yeah. I came back. I'm like, hey, babe. This schedule, if I could, no biggie. If not, tell me to F off, whatever. But if I'm here and I come back Monday morning, Monday night, I come back, just put in a day. Then I leave Wednesday and Thursday for fights. And she's like, that's a lot for you. I'm like, yeah, well, yeah, it is. And she's like, just stay the whole time. I'm like, okay.
You got what you wanted. That's good
cool.
negotiating right there. Really good negotiating. Did she ever give you shit about hunting after all the fight camps and all that stuff?
No. I mean, there's times when there's one time she called and she's like, hey, you got to come back. I'm like, all right, copy that. I'll be the next day. Like these coyotes killed all of our goats. I mean, there's like a goat hanging from the fence. Like, guys come, and I'm like, all right, I'll come back, obviously. But she's super cool about it, and my brother-in-law, so he married my wife's sister, and he loves to go out and get away whenever he can. Like, he just loves being in the woods. And, my wife's already always telling her, like, hey, this is their hobby. They could be doing a lot worse stuff.
A lot of other stuff.
Right?
Yeah.
We're out in the woods. We're with our buddies. We're working. And I wanted to get her into hunting and kind of show her what it is too. And so
once you do it, you have
a respect for it, right?
That's what the best thing I ever did was take my wife hunting, because her family had never been around it, didn't know anything of it, just like we were talking about. So I took her hunting with me, and when she understood what it is and like what we do, she's like, "Oh, this is great. Like, I see why you come back a better person." I'm like, "Yep, exactly."
We're not over here just drinking beer and
like, this ain't the Southern Tennessee hunting camp. This is what we do. I mean, this is everything to us. And so when she understood that, then that was the best decision I ever made, was to show her that, like, actually take her with me immediately. You know.
Yeah, because I always say, like, true friendships are forged on a mountain. And it's like, I see that with you guys. Like, you guys didn't know each other, went to hunt together, and now you're good buddies. It's like, even going with a significant other, you've learned something new about them.
100%.
Taking on the hunt, because you're struggling together, you're having the highs, you're having the lows.
I had a lot of good friends in my life. Like, growing up in Las Vegas, I had a lot of good friends in my life. None of them were for hunting, obviously. I mean, growing up in Vegas, I never met another hunting family. And, playing football, all my best friends were football players. Everybody went on to keep playing. I'm still friends with them. Don't get me wrong. Like, we still talk, but my best friends now, the people I talk to on a weekly basis, are all people I've met either literally on the mountain, like Clay Hill, or like guys I have met through hunting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
you have a different bond when you go through some adversity here and there with somebody.
Yeah.
And it's like, the guys I have friends all over the place, right? But the guys that I hunt with, I'm talking to them every day. It might not be about hunting or whatever, like whatever, group chat or whatever. And then, we get together and we go out and help each other. Like, somebody has a hunt, and, it's funny. We know who's like going to bring food or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
And, everybody has their role in the situation. Yeah, for sure. It's awesome.
Yeah, and it's always crazy too when you're hunting buddies. Like, there's those guys who just want to drop everything and go. No matter what they have going on, if you have a tag, they're like, I'm going to get out of whatever I have to do to go hunting with you, because I just want to be in that moment, share those experiences, have those memories together. It's like, hunters are crazy. We're cut from a crazy cloth.
Yeah, we're insane. There's no addiction like hunting. There isn't. Is fight addiction like it though?
No.
Because I asked Derek kind of the same thing about playing.
No, I really don't like to fight.
Really?
I like to compete, right? I just happen to be good at wrestling, and then
just beating the shit out of people. That's what you're good at.
Like, I really don't like to fight. There's you ask any fighter, like if Chandler was in here or anybody, like, you go through some emotions like fight week, and to the point, like, especially early in the career, you're like, what am I doing? And then afterwards you're like, oh, that's why, but
after you win.
I mean, if somebody's like, hey, you're going to fight Lorenzo in a cage on March 4th, and both are going to train, and you're both very good, like, good luck. You're going to be thinking about that the whole time.
Yeah, that's
it kind of takes over your life a little bit. And my wife knows that. She's super cool with it, as far as, like, I may not always be present, and it's nothing to do with you or the kids or anything like that. Like, I just have something on my mind. And I used to be really bad with that when I was younger, even before wife and kids. But now I try to prioritize, like, I leave the MMA side when I leave the gym. I leave everything there. Then husband, father, friend, outside of that. But a couple weeks out,
switch flips.
I know her, and I know our deal. She's like, is everything all right? I'm like, yeah, babe, it's not, you know how I get.
You're focused.
I'm focused. I'm dialed in, and, it is what it is. And then I'll be back, after the fight, I'm back to normal.
Did you start fighting right out of college?
So So I graduated college, and we had Cain Velasquez, former UFC heavyweight champ. We had CB Dalloway, one Ultimate Fighter.
Yep.
UFC vet. We had a bunch of UFC vets, but Cain was like, I'm going to fight. Right away, we got done with nationals. He was training. We went down to Mexico for one of his fights to like corner him. We didn't know what we were doing, right? And Dana was actually down there at these fights in Mexico for
trying
some
to
reason.
find fighters.
Maybe heard about Cain or whatever it was, and guys pulled out with Cain forever, you know. And I was like, well, I want to keep in shape, and I might as well learn a little kickboxing and whatever. So I go to MMA gym and start learning, going with their pros, and I'm like, man, I could be pretty good. I'm like, well, maybe I'll just do one fight.
Yeah.
Kind of knowing that if I liked it, it'd keep rolling.
Yeah.
I did my first fight on an Indian reservation in Arizona, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to fight. You know, you're like, I'm ready. I'm going to do it. We go up to Camp Verde and see my guy, and he's like 185 pounds.
How big are you at the time?
We were fighting at 205. So it gave me like confidence.
So he came in little, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, I can whoop this dude. And we're in the back, and he had ponytails and stuff like that, and he's warming up, and there's like a little curtain, but you're watching, like his ponytail whipped him in his eye, and he went down, and I'm like, all right, I'm feeling good. I went out there and just wrestled him and beat him up real good. He wore a rash guard, you know, and so after that, I'm like, I think I can be pretty good. And I mean, you're fighting for nothing. You're fighting Indian reservations. I fought in Mexico, you know, in a bullfighting ring. And then
bullfighting ring.
Yeah.
In a bullfighting ring. That sounds like you can explain some of that.
They were like, we drove up to the border on the other side. We stayed in a hotel, and then we walked across, got on a bus, and went like a couple miles in. And Cain was there. He was going to fight. And it was like it was a ring, 3-roped ring, which can't keep anybody in. And it was like plywood, painted plywood. So I'm like, I'm glad I'm a wrestler, right?
Holy shit.
I knocked my guy out, picking him up and slamming him down, you know. And then I fought Cayman Islands, but it was a means to an end, right? I was like, I got to get my record up. I know I can be good, and I know go into the big show.
Was Randall your manager at the time?
He started at the Ultimate Fighter.
That's when it started?
Yeah, that's when I got with Dave, and then, you know, and Dave and Randall were with each other. And I was having trouble with like a weasel manager, and I was looking for somebody, and there's a mutual friend that we both knew Dave, or Dave and I knew, and then we got together and did a handshake deal from there on out.
Yeah. So this is pre.
This is
Dave
right
and
after
Randall.
the Ultimate Fighter.
No, I'm talking when you were down in Mexico, it was pre Dave and Randall.
Yeah, pre. And then you just had to do it. It was Wild West back then, right? You just took fights to get your record up.
Dude, our lives post-college are very different.
Yeah.
Very different.
Well, that's the thing too. You know, we're just like, I'm going to bet on myself, and I'm like, you know, it is what it is. I was like looking to go to law school and all that, and I didn't want to look back and woulda, coulda, shoulda.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to regret. And exactly, had a job, and a small sponsor came up and was like, hey, we'll pay you monthly to quit your job and do it full time. I'm like, and it wasn't much, but I'm like, if I'm going to do it, like I'm single, I'm young, I'm going to do it now, you know. And then, it wasn't anything. So racking up a little credit card debt and all that, and be like,
shit.
Well, I know I'm going to get, you know, to where I want to go, because I'm going to work my ass off to get there.
You got to do it.
And and then 40 fights later.
Huh.
Unbelievable.
It sounds wild to me.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know that was like your true start, was doing that. I had no clue.
Yeah, I mean, we fought in a barn in Globe, Arizona. You know, they just didn't have a lot of.
Were you
big
winning
shows.
all these fights?
Yeah,
just crushing them.
I came into Ultimate Fighter undefeated, and then, you know, won the Ultimate Fighter and carried on from there. And
you know what's crazy is how much wrestling has taken over MMA.
Oh yeah,
like you look at all the champions.
Yep.
Phenomenal wrestlers, every single one of them.
I think it's just like what we've been through, as far as if you throw somebody into a college wrestling program, it's
level,
hard, right?
Yeah.
Like, one day is hard, but do it from September to end of March, right?
Yeah.
And it, like I said, we were the track team, the swim team. We were out there running the track, running the stairs and stadiums and all that, throwing up everywhere the whole time, and everybody's looking at us like we're animals, right? And like, what are you guys doing?
So was wrestling a thing for you in Minnesota?
Oh, it was big. All my friends wrestled.
Really?
I mean, but a lot of hockey, obviously.
There was no wrestling in Vegas.
Majority of my friends.
None. Zero. Like, I
Minnesota's-
never even heard of it.
You have your pockets, right? Iowa,
Yep,
Minnesota,
Iowa's really good.
like some East Coast, whatever. California,
Yeah.
Nevada. We had like that's where like I know Randall from. We had there's a little group of like guys that went and did freestyle, and we'd have to go like out of state. But you have like your state winner is really good. Second place could be really good, and then it just falls off.
Yeah.
It's not a real wrestling state. You know,
That's a shout out to my brother-in-law, four-time state
Four-timer.
champ. Four-time state champ, Nevada. But yeah, I had no clue. It was his dad that got him into it. He went to Cimarron. I went to Gorman, and like we didn't even have a wrestling team. I never even heard. Like, I had no clue anything about it, but I have a ton of respect for it now being around it, obviously. Yeah. I mean, it's impossible not to. My kid's going to wrestle, I can tell you that.
yeah.
Like,
He'd
it's
be a
just
beast.
different. He's built like me, little tiny short legs and monkey arms. He should be pretty good.
He'd be really
What
good.
I've noticed about wrestlers, just my friends in high school and stuff, like everyone is so mentally strong.
That's
Like
yeah.
it is incredible how mentally strong they are. Because like you said, you're doing the swim stuff. You're a track person. Like you're puking all the time. Like to go through what they go through and still enjoy it every single day.
Talk
and still
about
be
translation to
focused.
hunting too.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Being mental like that, like that's a
Like
big
you have
deal.
that edge that everyone wishes they had, and you're just going into the mountains that much more prepared because you know you can get out of any situation. You know you've been through worse before. Like you've been through hell.
Yeah.
Like you literally have, and you're able to push.
Do a lot with like the Green Berets as far as different foundations and stuff. We'll go out to their ranges and we do competitions and stuff like that. And they love recruiting from wrestling. You know, like gets through all of their, you know, all the pre-training, the screening and all that. The SEALs and Green Berets are like, I know if I have a college wrestler, he's
gonna make
he's
it.
gonna make it.
Yep.
Barring like he breaks his foot or leg, right? It is. I mean, from 7 years old, you know, you have a couple of years where you learn and whatever. But then we're doing it year round, traveling,
cutting weight too.
cutting weight like
That's
as
the part.
kids, you know, and that's the
part. Listen to Randall talk about how he was cutting weight through Thanksgiving and Christmas. I'm like, dude, to be a teenager and like that level of sacrifice.
yeah.
Wow.
So the last couple of days, and I'm not giving anything up here, but we had a kid who's cutting weight.
And the Ultimate Fighter?
Yeah.
Give it all up. What's going on?
I just can't. They got NDAs and stuff, but cutting weight shows up. These guys are. It's not like we have them for an 8-week camp. Like the guys that are fighting first, or they show up. They've been in a hotel for a long time, and they're in fight week, right? And so these guys are smaller, and we got like 15 pounds, and that's with them watching it, right? And so Chandler and I got up on weigh-in day and went over to their house, and this dude was putting in work the night before. You see his face; he's dead, and he still has 10 pounds to go. And in the morning, it's 6:45 a.m. We show up. He's on the treadmill in plastics. We lay him down, wrap him up, then put him in the sauna, then draw a 104-degree bath and put him in there for 20 minutes. He's still over. We got to go back in the sauna, right?
Dude.
And then on top of all that, he's got to fight
You got to fight, so you're just training
is it-
yourself.
the next day.
Yeah, 24 hours
Yeah,
later.
that was
right?
yesterday.
And he's fighting. You're going to coach him today in a fight.
We're going to go coach him in. Yep. I saw him this morning. He got a little shakeout, just meaning like
Did he make weight?
he made weight. Yeah.
It's unreal.
It's so crazy. I
couldn't
just
imagine.
remember all my friends like wearing like little trash bags back in the day,
Yeah,
and
plastics.
sweatshirts and
Yeah.
like everything, like just sweating their butts off. Just insane.
These guys are they're 155s and 145s, right?
35, yep.
Or 35s this season. So they're cutting a decent amount of weight, right?
That's a good percentage of your
What's he
body
going
weight.
into today then?
I mean, a lot of them will be like, what, 35ers?
50?
Yeah, probably above 50. Like you can put 20 pounds on
Just
you,
straight
like,
water.
but you don't want to. Also, you don't
Yeah.
want to. You don't want to have a body that you're not used to.
Yeah.
Like you've been training at like 10 pounds less, right? And then all of a sudden you're 155.
Yeah.
It's going to be kind of weird and different. And I mean, when I cut down to 205, I'd be 20 pounds heavier in about 5 hours.
So you'd be 225 walking in.
I would drink like all my electrolytes, all that. I wouldn't pee for like 10 hours. My body just absorbing everything.
It's so crazy.
Whew.
Yeah. Then you get older and you're like, your ego says, yeah, I've been doing this my whole life, cutting weight. And
Yeah.
as it gets harder, that's why I was like, you know what? I don't need to go down to 205 anymore. So I see these other dudes cutting. I'm like, do not envy. I get to show up fight week now. I'm heavyweight. I eat clean. You know, I eat the good food. But
you get to train at the exact same weight, fight at the exact same weight.
I know exactly.
That's what
and your
makes
body's
sense
used
to
to
me.
it then. I think it's better,
That's what
right?
makes sense to me. Or like Alex Pereira, right? Like he's been talked about a million times, and you know, people get mad at us because we always talk about sports, and that's what we're talking about. But dude, Alex Pereira walks in at 230 and fights at 185. It's
crazy.
Like it's sanctioned. Like Joe Rogan said, it's like sanctioned cheating almost. You know what I mean? It's like he just has the genetically perfect body to make 185 and then walk in at 229. It's insane. It's so crazy.
And it backfires on some people, right? They go in there, they can't. For me too, at 205, like I couldn't take shots that I could take at heavyweight, no problem.
Yeah.
It's just like, think about it. You're depleting your body like a crazy amount. And we just look at it as weight cutting, but it's like you're trapped out on a boat in the middle of the ocean.
Biology changes.
Sweating and not right.
Yeah.
But then you're asked to go out there and fight the highest level of competition in 24 hours and thinking you rehydrate.
Could you imagine doing that hunting?
No, there's no way.
Like you would be literally destroyed to cut your body like that.
So I got asked to be kicked off the podcast for a second time because now I'm talking about carnivore. So first it was about cussing. Now it's because I talked about carnivore.
You talked about too many sorts of diets.
Too many sorts of diets. I am a process-driven person. I am. There is a purpose for everything that I do, and my purpose is for hunting. So I'm like always messing around to try to figure out the best thing possible to go into hunting season because I know, you know, this is why I was saying for you, like being in fight camp to go on a hunt, you can't. Natural life, normal life doesn't exist when you go hunting, right? Like just it's out the window. You can't do it, right? You become an endurance / like survivalist, right? Yep. Like that's what it turns into. So like everything I do is purpose driven in what I'm trying to do, and it's all for hunting. So like I do this stuff before hunting season because I know like day one I'm going to be good, and then I'm just slowly going to deteriorate, and I'm trying to hold it for as long as I can, like this highest level of performance, right? Like, that's why I'm always messing around with my diet. But if you had to, like, cut weight, you know what I mean?
They were forced to cut weight to go
completely change. Like, you're at the perfect level of performance, like, physiologically, you know, your body's at highest level of performance. And then what do you start cutting? 5 days out? 4 days out?
Yeah, so I do like a water load, and you're drinking 3 gallons of water for, like, 3 days. Then you get it to 2. And then you go down to, like, 1. Then it's, like... one's like 32 ounces in one day, then it's nothing for a day. So your body's tricked into thinking it's getting all this water, so it'll get rid of it. You'll pee, you'll sweat. But just like this kid cutting this weight, when he put a good 2 hours maybe of just that morning, and we dry him off because you want your hair to be dry. And, you know, we're talking about like 0.1, 0.2 is going to make a whole deal. And he gets on there and he's a half pound over. And like I felt it, he felt it. He's just like a defeat, right? Like I have to go back in the sauna, and his fingers are cramping. You're like, oh, man,
dude, if you had to do
must
that,
really want it,
and then leave to hunt the next day, I'd be a wreck.
Yeah.
I'd be a total wreck because I look at it as go in at the highest level of performance, like you are with heavyweight, right? Now, like go in at the highest level of performance because I know I'm going to lose just a little bit every single day as it drags on. Right?
Yeah.
It's like to start from underneath. I don't know. It'd be crazy.
Yeah. Especially if they forced you like, oh, you're going on a high country mule deer hunt. You have to meet this before you can go. So you're working up towards that, cutting, demolishing, trying to go on a mountain hunt like that.
Yeah.
After being at this other weight, and now you're down to there.
Well, it's like bringing Derek back up. He's going to go on a hunt with some seals. I can't remember what he's doing. I'll let him talk about it, but he's going to parachute. He's going to high level parachute into some hunt that he's going to do with these seals, and he's got to get sub 260. First thing I said is like, bro, if you weigh less than me, I feel really bad about myself.
You
are a giant human, so like you're gonna make me feel really bad about myself. But 2, like, dude, you're gonna lose all that weight and then have to go on a backcountry hunt Like, what are you going to do? You know, like that's going to be a wild thing. It's going to be a wild process. He's what do we say he was? 285 right now?
280 something.
So it's 30, 25, 30
I mean, you got to
pounds.
change your body. It's got to be time, right? Like if I was going to cut, like be 205er again, I would change the way I eat. I would change like long before it was like a cutting deal, right?
Yeah.
So I start at 225 instead of being 235 and cutting down. And then the rest is all water.
Yeah.
I mean,
You'd go 225 to 205 straight water.
I would leave for the fight, like say on Saturday or Sunday, try to be 223. And by the time I get there,
Literally 223.
yeah,
Like
I have
that
it down,
number?
yeah. And then hopefully I'm 217 on a certain day. And then I want to cut like 10 to 12 pounds. And you can do that. I can get 10 to 12 in 40 minutes.
What?
Just, yeah. Of
The
water.
Really?
The
Just
math
burning
doesn't
them
compute in my head
No.
at all.
So you put the plastics on, right? And I start really intense, bah, 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 hitting pads, right?
Yeah.
I got sweatshirt, plastics, right? Bah, 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 bah. Like burning up your like glycogen and stuff. And then you just keep that sweat going. I do that for like, I don't know, 15 minutes or so. And I'll do a long walk uphill on a treadmill. And that'll suck.
Huh.
I might have to maybe hit a sauna, but I'll at least get 8 pounds in that 40 minutes. And then
Wow.
try to go to bed. You're dreaming of like you accidentally got up and drank a bunch of
Drink water. It's like
right.
when you dream you
Yeah.
missed a final or some
yeah,
shit like that.
100%. And then you get up and you go and you hit hit the weigh-ins or whatever. You weigh in, and then you start rehydration process. Right? It's not eating right away. You don't even want to eat.
You just shit your pants if you eat right
Oh
away.
yeah,
or
I
what?
mean it will not be good. But you start with like a little carb drink and sugar, and you move on to some electrolytes and all that, and then probably like an hour or two, you maybe introduce a little bit of food. It's not
So
fun.
crazy, man.
It's not fun.
So crazy. And then when you were doing heavyweight and light heavyweight, man, holy shit.
Yeah, yo-yoing was not.
Your
can't-
body's
I
doing
mean-
all sorts of different things.
Your first heavyweight, were you still 225 or did you
Yeah.
get up a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I would drink water in the morning and try to like hit like a half gallon just to weigh in at like 230.
Just to look bigger, seem bigger?
Just on the scale, it'd be like, oh,
Yeah.
232 versus 255.
Yeah, because you're not a big heavyweight.
No, I'm not. No,
But you're still beating the shit out of these guys.
I like being fast and my cardio
Yeah.
I use as a weapon.
Yeah.
And I thought I had to be big, and then I realized
Really doesn't
I
matter.
don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all
Makes
big
total
guys. We can
sense.
all hit hard and this and that. And
Once you get that size, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it's all the same shit. You
Fighting
can
at
be
that
faster
level.
though. Yeah.
yeah,
Your wrestling's good enough. That's what's crazy. That's why Randall's 160, 170 pounds right now.
Yeah.
Dude, he's never messed with me wrestling before. In this last 4th of July, I tell everyone the story. I'm like blown away. Took me down at my house. I could not get up.
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
Once
I
you
can-
have it, you
I
have
can
it.
pistol squat 170 pounds.
Yeah.
Like single leg pistol squat. I could not get up. Couldn't get up. I'm like, okay, this shit makes sense now. I get
Yeah.
it.
I mean, think about it. He's been since he
Doing it
was a
forever.
kid.
Yeah.
The more-
4-time state champ. One on
Exactly.
a broken ACL.
Oh my
Finding the most efficient way to hold somebody
Somebody
down,
down,
and
yeah.
turn them,
Yeah.
and we all kind of dedicated our life to, if you're a wrestler like that at that level,
Yeah.
that's all we did, and now it's MMA, which came from wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that's why wrestlers are so dominant.
It's crazy, man. They really are taking over. Anyways, you got to get back to coaching, right? I don't
Sure. Yeah,
appreciate the time stopping by, but
yeah.
we also want to get you out of here. It's kind of cool that you stopped by while you're coaching tough.
It is.
100%.
It's pretty
interesting.
baller. It shows
Yeah.
again the mental like toughness. Like he can do multiple
Bro, he
things
came
at once.
straight from practice.
Yeah.
Randall told me he was going to wrestle shower. I don't know what that is. What's a wrestle shower?
Wrestle shower?
Yeah, he told me you were going to wrestle shower. It must be like a quick like a
Wrestling shower? Oh,
quarterback
yeah.
or something.
We worked out and I just ran in there, got a little locker room and just kind of
rinse off real quick and
rinsed
ran.
off, found somebody's towel.
Ran out.
Someone's towel.
No, we appreciate you coming by. That was
100%.
awesome.
We'll do it again too. We get
we have
Randall
more
and
time.
Chandler in here, and
No, we need to hunt again too. That's what I've been thinking about. I got a lot of deer points in Arizona.
Let's do it.
And I want to coos hunt.
yeah,
I'm never gonna catch the
You
never
never,
gonna
yeah.
catch the high end mule deer stuff.
see what we draw here. I'm hoping we get a little 23, me or my buddy,
Yeah.
and then we always have the vets out, and then see what we get for deer. I put in for Wyoming. I'll put in for New Mexico.
Just make sure you don't have a fight November or December.
I
Well, I guess December it would be.
Well, yeah, the earlier the better for me because training camp is 2 months, right?
2 straight months?
Yeah. And I get weird as far as like, I'll go for like a
2
weekend,
days. Yeah.
2-3 days, I'll prioritize that. But, like just bringing enough food and the right food, I just can't do it,
I got one question for you though, before we go. John Jones is fighting in a week and a half. You fought him once or twice?
Once.
Once? Who wins?
John Jones.
You think so?
I think he absolutely...
Greatest of all time?
Yeah, he's greatest of all time. I think he goes in there and gain or gone, however you say it, he has one way to win.
Yeah.
That's striking. He has really good striking.
Zero wrestling.
For a big guy. I mean, Nagano went in there and wrestled him, right?
Yeah. The guy has zero.
He has zero.
Talk about zero wrestling.
We're talking about John Jones. He's long.
Yeah. I think so too, man.
He's going to go in there.
But he's a dog in the fight on betting odds. It's
crazy.
Is he
really?
Yeah. Yeah.
It depends what John Jones shows up, right? Is he going to strike with them? Or is he going to game plan?
I don't know. I'm so excited he's back.
Take him down.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I've got
pretty
Jones.
cool you fought him too. It's really cool. It's like Derek sacking Tom Brady. It's pretty cool.
That's a pretty cool story.
Yeah, I fought him right on when he was coming up because he won the title the next fight when he fought Shogun.
Yeah.
And any loss, I'm like, man, down. And then I see him fight Shogun and absolutely destroy him. I'm like, well,
John Jones. Yeah.
He is that good.
That's crazy, man. Anyways, we appreciate it.
Oh, awesome.
I want to get you out of here on time.
Yeah. But speaking of picking up tags, though, real quick,
Yeah.
we want you guys to be able to pick up tags this hunting season. So make sure, if you're not an insider yet, dive in, start using our research tools. Use promo code podcast when you sign up. You're going to get 50 points to the GOHUNT Gear Shop. That's $50 you can spend on gear. So you get everything: app strategies, filtering 2.0, draw odds, point tracker, hunt planner, everything you need to do to plan out these crazy adventures that we all love and crave. We got it with GOHUNT Insider. So promo code podcast when you sign up.
You've gotten so good at that.
Oh,
I'm very, very happy.
Gets me fired up talking about this, and then we lead into some of these, like that little read. It's like, I just want to go hunting right now.
Me too.
Even though this conversation was a little bit all over the board, but it's like it motivates me right now. Like I want to go freaking crush a workout right now. I really just want
to get ready for hunting.
To get ready to go hunting. Like I'm just planning a spring bear hunt
I'm
right
jealous
now.
of professional athletes for that. You guys have a reason to
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like trying to manage my home life and work life. I'm like, I gotta get some work in though. You know what I mean? Like, but I'm gonna go sit at a desk for the rest of the day, and then I'm gonna go home to a wife and kids. It's just different.
It's his life.
It is. It's different, man. But anyways, thank you.
I appreciate
it,
you
guys.
Yeah,
thank
fun.
you.